Hello everybody, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Today we are drawing Absolute Wonder Woman. And as always, I'm getting started with very structural based sketching right now. So start off with the main shape of the torso and the pelvis. Remember the diaper we talked about in the last video, drawing Absolute Batman. Using those cylinder shapes, right, to build up our legs and arms and different areas of the body. Now that I have a structure sort of set up that I liked, little by little I'll start to add pieces of the costume and details like that. Using a kneaded eraser, like I mentioned before, and just using that to bring the transparency down and drawing on top of what is left over. Get some hair moving and show some movement. That gnarly shadow there on the left is because I'm drawing in my sketchbook, and it's really it's like a book binding, so I can't really fold the cover behind this page that I'm drawing on, but working through that. Flipping back here, you'll see my initial sketch, and I would just flip back there to look at that gesture drawing and make sure that I got something pretty close to that. This is really strong, and I feel like it's very dynamic, but I do end up in the moment just deciding to try something else with arm placement, and I even kind of tilt the head a little bit more. You'll see later on as we continue, but looking back over the video as I'm editing and working out the commentary, I'm just kind of thinking, maybe keeping it like this is the right decision in creating more of a dynamic composition. So if anybody is following along, you can decide for yourself what works best for you and what you want to try out. As always, the reason why we'll do very structural based sketching is it just makes the drawing process a lot easier, makes laying out the anatomy a bit easier. I recommend and suggest always finding some kind of reference when it comes to muscle anatomy and things like that. I don't consider myself really an expert in it. I still find myself using a lot of reference from time to time, and I'm happy to do so because I feel like I'm constantly learning something new. Because those foundational sketches were laid out, laying out the costume pieces like what I'm doing now is a lot more of a smoother process, I will say. And I know a lot of what I'm sketching out at this moment is out of frame, but we'll get zoomed out here shortly and give you the full scope. Okay, I know it seems like we've made a pretty big jump here, but really all I've done is I erased the head and I got it facing left now. It's kind of on an angle. this point in the drawing, I have some reference pulled up off camera for Absolute Wonder Woman and getting those costume pieces sort of figured out. And so I'm just getting final pencils on those items. Tattoos, and I probably picked about 6 or 7 reference images to work from. Looking back and forth now, trying to make sure I got this tattoo correct. I really like the art style in Absolute Wonder Woman. The artist is Hayden Sherman, and I really like studying his line work and looking at the variety of lines and textures he creates is really cool. Getting into just a little bit of light inking, testing out some microns. It's a bit hard to see here because my hand is covering a lot of it, but just working in some of these armor pieces, trying to replicate some of that line work that I seen, which is a lot of, hatching in one directional, spacing it out every now and then. Some sharp and deadly looking kneecap pieces. I think I got most of what I need in my pencils, and we'll start to ink here very soon. Just trying to keep everything pretty sharp. Neat line work. Well, as neat as I can manage anyway. I feel like that's something I'm always trying to improve on.
just like before in my Absolute Batman video, what I'm using for inking is just a variety of pins. Right now is a Tombow. They come in like a 2-pack, and those are pretty good. Between that and microns, that's basically all I'm using for this piece. Switching over to a brush tip ink pen. These are my favorite to work with when I'm doing any kind of hair and a lot of different textures, that using this tool makes it a lot easier. I have a lot of fun doing hair, and I feel like I can kind of get carried away. So naturally, I spent a lot of time just giving Wonder Woman the most full, thick hair I can manage. because this leg is further back, we're adding quite a bit of lines just to give it that depth. Anytime you feel like you need to turn and rotate the paper, I encourage anybody to do so. Anything you need to give you that best line that you can make. We're getting pretty close to finishing here. Rendering out these armor pieces on the legs and boots are really fun for me. Like I said, using that brush tip micron and just kind of exploring different textures and things is pretty rewarding. even if one of my pins starts to dry out, I like to hang on to them a bit before tossing them away. And the reason being is you can get a really cool dry brush effect with some of those dyeing ink pens. And so that's what I use first off on this the shin armor right here. And then I'll divert back to, regular line work. Saving the best for last, and probably the most tedious and challenging part for my unsteady hand, is inking this lasso. I end up messing that up even, and using like a white jelly roll or white out to make some corrections. As we wrap up here on the second part of this series, I'm pretty happy with what we're able to put down on the page. Something with a little movement, some dynamicism, and I would say just a good flow for myself. So I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully, if any of you are following along and tried it yourself, you're happy with what you put down. And I am so looking forward to jumping into the Superman video. I drew a Superman, and overall I thought it was okay. I think the hands kind of looked a little goofy and needed some work. And I guess Fate thought the same thing too, because the footage for that video is lost, and I am starting over on that and drawing a new Superman. So that will be the last part of this DC Absolute Trinity series of videos, and I can get back to finishing that Fantastic Four and some of the other things I have planned for this year. Hopefully everybody's having a good new year. Once I get finished up with that Superman, the plan will be to compile these three into one poster and get everything colored, and that'll be a fun one for everyone. I'm sure a lot of people just enjoy watching the color process, and I know I'm excited about that. Here she is, all dolled up and pretty in Photoshop. Thank you guys so much for checking this video out. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.